If you're looking for a trusted and reliable source of news and information, check out my friends over at patriotpost.us. A link for them will be in the description box. So when you head over there and subscribe, tell them that ABL sent you. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the 2020 Summer Olympics that will be in Tokyo, Japan, banning any kind of fist raising or kneeling. Political protests in general will be banned at the Summer Olympics. Now, personally, I'm glad that the IOC, that's the International Olympics Committee, did this, because when I'm watching the Olympics, I don't want to see any political stuff. It doesn't matter if it's left, right, center, agnostic politically. I don't want to see any kind of, demonstration. I just don't want to see that. I want to see the world's best athletes perform at a high level. I want to see the individuals, countries come out, wearing their colors, waving their flag, being patriotic. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see the political stuff. Okay, so this is a good decision from my point of view. Now, some others are going to be triggered. They're going to be butthurt. They're going to be upset. I wonder who's going to be the first person to get kicked out of Japan, or at least out of the Olympics, for violating the IOC's rules. I'm thinking maybe Megan Rapinoe. If they have women's soccer at the Olympics, she may be one of the first people to get kicked out, because I've seen her step on the flag, throw it around, basically trying to be the female Colin Kaepernick. Okay, Kaepernick obviously will not be there. I don't think there's even a category in the Olympics for American football, but I digress. The reason why the IOC came up with these rules is because they just want to have things be neutral. If you read their official statement, it was kind of some SJW stuff in there talking about the world is becoming increasingly divided. And when I hear that, I'm thinking they're probably talking about the United States and Donald Trump and, the left, right, back and forth, impeachment, stuff like that. They're probably talking about that. Maybe some other things around the world, but definitely that. Moving right along, it was some SJW stuff in their statement, but it was also some things that just simply made sense. It's like, look, we want to set a good example, so we want to be neutral when it comes to the field of play, when it comes to the podium and other things. Now, I found it pretty interesting that they mentioned the podium specifically. And when they say podium, they're talking about where the athletes go to accept their medals. It's a very high profile, high vis moment that had been kind of messed with before. Back in 1968, remember Tommie Smith and John Carlos raising their fist with the glove on, all this, that, and the third. Remember that? Trying to raise civil rights awareness back then. Okay, so they don't want to have any kind of repeat of that. Not saying it was a good thing, bad thing, whatever, but they don't want that. They just want the athletes to come out there and perform properly. This should be the way it is all across sports. Okay, like I said, I just want to see the top athletes perform at a very high level. I don't want to see anything else. And really, these athletes are working. Like, I can't just go to a job that I'm getting paid for by a person that's my boss and do whatever I want to do. I can't just be going up there giving political speeches, making political statements, all this, that, and the third. Like I say, I don't care if it's left, right, center. It doesn't matter. Political speech is political speech. There's a certain time and place for that. If you want to be Colin Kaepernick, then you can be Colin Kaepernick. But guess what? He's not in the NFL anymore. He's out just sending troll tweets on Twitter. That's his form of, trying to have his political speech. That's fine. He doesn't really do any kind of talks in public. He doesn't really speak that much when it comes to cameras, but he can go out there and tweet. That's his form of fighting against a quote unquote man. All right, that's fine. But when you're on the football field working, doing that, it's a big time distraction. Nobody wants to see that. Now, some people are going to say, oh, you're violating free speech. Look, I mean, there are certain rules and regulations. The IOC have protocols you got to follow. You can't just do whatever you want to do. And really, this ain't a United States company, as far as I know. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But I don't think the IOC, the International Olympics Committee, is an American thing. Even if it were, how can we just bring American things to wherever we want and say you got to abide by that? And it's not even an American thing to have rules when you're talking about a company providing you with an employment opportunity. You know, you can't just dictate to a company, oh, you got to let your employees protest politically. That's not really how that goes at all. Okay, you got to follow rules and regulations. You can't just say, oh, my free speech, I can do and say whatever I want. That's not how that works. Okay, it's just like if you come to my house and you're cussing and fussing, carrying on, I can say, hey, sir, you need to leave because you're doing way too much. You can't just say, oh, my free speech. That's not how this works at all. Private businesses, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not, you know, illegal. You can't just go in there, beat people up, shoot people or whatever, but you have rights. You can say, all right, you're going to be allowed. You're not going to be allowed. Now, speaking about who's going to be allowed and who's not, the IOC did a good thing by barring the political protest, but they're still kind of behind when it comes to the transgender issue. In my humble opinion, they're still trying to figure out, oh, what's a man, what's a woman? And if you had hormone therapy, you might be okay. So as it stands right now, and if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. You can be looking like Andre the Giant, a full-grown adult biological male, and compete against women as long as you identify as trans. And there's a certain little few things that you had, maybe hormone replacement. You might have your twig and berry still and be able to compete against the women. That is totally unfair. Look at basketball. How many 7-foot tall women do you see, period, in the world, let alone those that are going to be athletic enough to play basketball? Okay, you got 7-foot tall guys that are not athletic at all, can't play basketball, but you got some guys that are 7 feet tall that are like small guards athletically. They can dribble, they can shoot from 30 feet, they can do whatever. There's no female equivalent of that. So when you have a guy, a biological male, competing against women, talking about, well, I'm transgender, that is unfair. Olympic boxing, I think that's still an event in the Olympics. Imagine if you had Mike Tyson talking about, yeah, I'm trans. I mean, the women that'd be in there, it just wouldn't be right, man. It just would not be okay. So the IOC has kind of a long way to go. Like I said, they kind of got some SJW stuff in there. But I think even those that are on a social justice warrior edge don't want to have all the heat that will come their way when you're talking about political things, especially when talking about international politics, okay? They don't want to have a Taiwanese person come up there talking about free Taiwan or free Hong Kong. Can you imagine being in Japan and somebody says free Hong Kong? Now, I agree with the whole free Hong Kong movement. I'm right there with them, and shout out to them. But imagine if they had the free Hong Kong movement right there in Japan at the Olympics. China is like right next door. Okay, you just don't want that to happen. That'd be really bad. That'd be an international incident. You don't want that to happen at the Olympics. Okay, you just don't want it. There's a time and place. Hong Kongers are out there in their particular country fighting for their rights, fighting for their freedom. I'm with you. Once you go to the Olympics with that, now you got a whole different thing. Different countries are there. Different interests are there. It's just too much. It doesn't make any sense. I'm glad that they put their foot down right here. Hopefully they will actually enforce this and not just have it be a way to censor certain things that they don't like. If you're going to say no political protest, let that be the same across the board. Let's not play favorites at all. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think it's a good idea for the IOC to ban the political protest at the 2020 Summer Olympics? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or is it a bad thing? Should they just allow whatever to go on? Should Kosovo come in there talking about Allah, what is that, and the third? Should it be able to do that? Is that what should be going on? The Iranians talking about death to America. Is that what should be going on? Or should we just say, you know what? The Olympics are a time for, you know, high level competition. Go out there and see who's the best man, the best woman, whatever the case may be in a particular sport. Okay. And if it's a team sport, what team is better than the other team? What country dominates over other countries? You're talking about medal count. Okay. That's what it should be about, not about your political affiliation or dissent. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.